Hello everyone, welcome back to our HEM podcast secondary. I'm David Briviesca. I'm currently working as the English coordinator at Grupo Escolar Morelos Bilingüe Secundaria, and I'm also teacher of the advanced groups in first, second, and third grade. Today we have a very special guest, a very beloved special guest. we share a very long story together. She's our ex-student, Valeria Perez Tolentino. Hello, Valeria. Good to see you. Good to have you again. It's been a long time since
it's
we
good
last
to see
met,
you too.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the journey of English. Vale, can you tell us from when did you start learning English?
I think since I was very little. I mean, we had some English classes in kindergarten, which I don't remember, but I remember we
long
had
years
it.
ago.
Yeah, I remember mostly when I got into HEM. That was since first year of primary I've been in HEM, and I remember taking English because it was half of the day at school.
Mm-hmm.
And I also remember the spelling bee competition. That's actually my mom actually has. She's really proud of it because she was like, all those kids came from kindergarten, and you that were new won the spelling bee.
You won first year of spelling bee.
Yeah.
Were you new to spelling bee? I mean, do you know about spelling bee before that, or was it like the first time you competed?
It was the first time I ever heard about it. I didn't know it was a thing.
What was a spelling bee?
It was the spelling bee competition. And it was like spelling bee.
Yeah, right.
Something to do with bees.
Oh, that was your first year in primary in HEM, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and later in primary?
Later in primary, well, I remember us, all of the students, like being on the same level, but I remember that as we moved forward in on our school life, we started having different levels because some new kids joined, and a lot of times those kids didn't have the same English like learning we had, or some of them didn't have like English
at all, right? It was the first time they joined the school.
Yeah. And well, further into my journey, there was you in fourth grade.
we have to admit that I have to admit that Valeria was my first generation when I started first working in Grupo Escolar Morelos. I began my journey as an English teacher in primary, and that's when I met Valeria.
Yeah.
Like many years ago. She was one of my first greatest students ever, to be honest, right? So how do you feel in fourth grade? Tell me.
Well, it was funny because a lot of the times we on English classes, of course, they have to be dynamic. But I remember your class was like, wow, we play a lot here and do a lot of activities here, because I remember that we stood up a lot, we played games on the board a lot, but like competitive. It was always competition.
I like to be competitive. I have to admit it.
You like us to make rivalries of each other. No, but I remember feeling good there. It was nice. I had friends, and I think we were kind of in the same level on that time. So it was great. It was really great. Though I remember that I didn't make it to spelling bee that year.
You didn't make it, right?
Yeah,
Oh
I remember.
You were traumatized by that event in your life. You won the first grade spelling bee, but you couldn't make it to the
I
fourth.
won, I think, first, second, third, and I think fourth was my first time not
participating.
participating.
That's right. But there were some achievements in fourth grade, right? You certified as well.
Yeah, I actually don't quite remember when I started doing the certifications, but I obviously, as everyone else, I started at Starters.
Starters. That's the first certification in young learners for Cambridge.
Yeah, and in fourth grade, I don't quite remember if I was taking movers or flyers, but I did certificate at that time. Because I passed the exam, and so it was like, let's take courses and prepare you for the exam, which I passed as well.
You passed as well. I would like to make a parenthesis in there. No? For all those who have been with us in Grupo Escolar Morelos, the process to be a candidate for a Cambridge certification is to first take a diagnostic test, right? With those tests, we realize if the student is a candidate, a strong student, because what we want is not the number of students, but the quality of the results, of course. So if you are a candidate, then you are invited to become part of the Cambridge course, which during your classes, the English classes, they are taken out. So they have specialized English classes for the specific tests. In that case, was movers or flyers. I don't remember very well.
Flyers. I think flyers.
We just give a specific tasks, exercises, practice, writing, speaking, etc., etc. Right?
Yeah.
So that was 4th grade. What about 5th grade?
5th grade, I remember my teacher, though I think there was a little stop there because there's, I think it's divided, like what certifications you can take in primary school and what certifications you can take at secondary school. And I think I understand it because there has to be a level. I think it would be unfair for one student to have more advanced level than the others. It was like, why does this girl have more like experience or learning or special classes than the other ones? Like,
Yeah. Well, that was of course because you were like a very special, special in a good way, right? Valeria has been a very talented English speaker. So most students certify in flyers when they are in 6th grade of primary. She did it 4th, 5th. We don't remember very well. It was many years ago.
I think it's 4th. I think I didn't make much in 5th grade.
So we had a pause in there, right? So we moved from primary and then we begin secondary.
Yeah. I remember with that even before I started classes, we had to take a test to place us in like beginners, advanced, and the middle.
Intermediate.
Yeah. And I was surprised because I thought it would be like primary. Though I think someone had mentioned me that we were in levels in secondary. I didn't know we had to take a test before entering school.
Yeah, that actually happens nowadays. We still have a placement test. That's what we call a placement test to place redundancy the students in the right level.
Yeah, I remember it was a confusing exam because most of the answers were right, but some used other words that sounded better. So I remember it was being confusing because but this is right, but this is also right. So it was like, what? So I just chose what my heart told me to.
So, obviously you got into the advanced level, of course. I remember because we were together from 4th grade of primary, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade of secondary, right?
Yeah.
So how was the first 2 weeks of school in secondary?
They were pretty great actually because I wasn't aware that there would be so many new kids. I thought they would be the same as primary, like our same group, and there was a lot of new kids, and I started to get along with them, even though some were in the beginners or the intermediate. That's what it called.
Intermediate level? Yeah.
And in advance, it was really fun. I think because we were supposed to talk English all of the time, it was fun because I also met a classmate. Do you remember Melanie?
Yeah, I remember her.
Melanie that spoke English. It was like my rival, but in a friendly way.
Yeah, she had a gift. Like I believe she was born in the U.S.
I don't know if born, but she
got raised in there, so she had like a native English level.
But I think it was kind of because we were pretty close, I think, in primary. So when Melanie started school there and we were like together, it's like, oh my God, there's someone at your level. So I thought it was fun. And even though our other classmates weren't as advanced, I think we still spoke the language well. And speaking it all of the time definitely helps.
I still get mad if they speak Spanish. I will get like, report if you say hello or something like, less participation. All right, but that has obviously a big purpose, right? Like you have the level and try to make it as natural as possible, as if we were in an American school, British school. Oh yeah. So that was first grade and your first certification in secondary.
Yeah, I not began, I continued to take certifications in secondary, and I was set for key.
Key.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that was
took
the
that
first one.
exam and I passed it, and well, I was taking my courses. I remember that there were like 15, I think it was a group of 15, 10, like something close to that. But then there was the pandemic,
Oh gosh, the pandemic.
and we were on to our houses, so we had to almost improvise with Cambridge.
Yeah, we were actually everyone in the world was improvising with like the uh, face-to-face, from face-to-face classes to the virtual and digital world.
Yeah, I remember my teacher back then of Cambridge, teacher Uriel, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, that we couldn't do much like with the materials, so instead we went into websites to practice our listening, our speaking. Of course, we talked to each other, and I think we had to write a few things as well, like some tiny essays. And well, that was kind of like it, because I don't remember like taking the Cambridge test.
That Cambridge, right? You were a candidate, but things happened
Yeah.
that time. Okay. Well, my question in here is: was there any difference between taking starters, movers, or flyers, which is for young learners, and then start with key?
Yeah. First of all, I was kind of like, oh, Cambridge again.
Oh, again.
But I think there's a huge difference, because I remember in Cambridge, like for young learners, we had to color a lot.
Oh yes, it still happens. You still
Yeah.
have colors.
We had a lot of colors, and we had to do the listening. Like the man in the red shirt is doing this, and we had to find the man and color his shirt. And then in secondary, it was like, oh, this is all writing and listening.
This is alright. There's no colors in here. Where
There's
are
no
the drawings
colors
at?
or pictures, or it's not like drawings. It's like actual pictures of people. So it was the main difference. Like I understood that there was a different level, because it was kind of like more, I don't know if to say professional. It was more serious.
Yeah, more serious.
And a little bit more challenging, because it's like a huge jump from flyers to key.
To key. Right?
Yeah.
Well, second grade, again, you took a placement test. I mean, that's not for granted. Even if you are in intermediate, advanced level, every year you have to take a placement test. So you.
I actually don't remember taking the placement
You
test.
don't remember?
No, because it was pandemic.
Ah,
as well.
of course, it was pandemics. Yeah, things happen. All right.
Yeah.
So second grade, how was it?
Badly. We don't talk about my second year of secondary, because it was horrible. Yeah, basically, I didn't do much.
She didn't do much, but do you still get certified in there? We applied PET in second grade.
Yeah,
But still pandemics, right?
yeah,
But
still pandemics. It was until third grade
It
that
was
we
until
went back
third
to
grade.
school.
hmm
Yeah, so I remember that. I don't remember much of second year, because it was an absolute disaster. And on third grade it was like, okay, I have to lock in. So
Uh-huh.
I started like focusing on school more, and well, it was time to go back. Also, I remember that we did these hybrid classes.
Oh yeah, some students will be face to face and some others will be connected, right?
Yeah.
It was a challenge in there for teachers. Every teacher in the world was like, okay, I have to pay attention to the students in front of me, have a dynamic with them, while not forgetting about the ones who are still connected, right? But I think it brought good changes, the digital change, right? So the classic teacher like carrying the notebook and the book in here, showing it, writing on the board, to the technological teacher using the laptops while simultaneously presenting, using applications, websites. That was a challenge. But we learned a lot actually.
Yeah. And I went to school finally. I think it was on March, and it was like, oh guys, I haven't seen you in forever.
Much has changed.
Yeah, and then I remembered like most of my friends, like my close friend group, were in advance as well. It was June. Well, now at the time.
Okay, at the time.
There was Melanie, there was Adriana, and there was Fernando that joined.
Oh
On the
yeah, I
advanced
remember
level.
Fernando. He joined us that year.
Yeah,
What a character.
so it was even more fun than before. Though I had to get used to again to the dynamics because in my house we were always sitting and sometimes napping in secret. So when I went into school and then I had to take the placement test again, and I was like, wow, I didn't remember all of this.
Yeah, keep on practice, guys. If you don't practice for even a month, something happens in our brain that we start like you had to start dusting off.
Yeah, but I passed that test, and I remember I think most of my classmates were placed on key or pet, and only me and Adriana were the ones to make it to the first.
The first certificate, right? We
Yeah.
can say that the first certificate for us, for English teachers at a secondary level, is like the holy cup, right? It's like
Yeah.
the hardest. There is like a big difference between taking a key pet. It's like a really native English already.
Yeah.
So how was your experience with first?
Oh my God, I remember those classes because I felt like they were long and not hard, but they were a little, I don't know how to describe it. Not boring either. It's just it was different from the other.
It felt more like a college level, no?
Yeah, because first of all, we were only 2 students there, so it was like a little intimidating because we would have these very different listenings. I remember the most we did were listenings, and we had our little notebook. So we had to pay really close attention to the listening and read the answers and write what we heard. But I remember that I don't know why I was really tired when I was doing my third year of secondary, and sometimes I couldn't help but fall asleep during the listenings.
Oh, they are very long listeners, like 5 minutes long, some of them. Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I remember that in classes, on our normal classes, you had some little tips for listenings. That sometimes there's distractions in the listening, or you have to how do you say, like, mark the keywords, highlight the keywords. So I tried doing that, and I tried really hard to pay attention, but my mind would just
We should shut down.
yeah.
But in the end, we made it.
Yeah.
We made it. So please tell us about your great achievement.
Okay, the first exam. First of all, it wasn't in him like it usually is. I think for the secondary levels, it's in a different school, or I don't know if it's only first.
First is just like secondary levels.
Oh, yeah, but I mean that we take the Cambridge test, the actual test, in a different school.
Oh yeah. For key and pet, we can take the tests in the school, right?
him.
But for in him, but for first, it has to be in a different institution. Very few people in secondary level can make it to first, so that's why they are assigned a special school.
Yeah, okay, so first of all, I remember waking up really early and we had to go to another school. I think it was like those schools, a private school that is like primary, secondary, and high school. So we went there really early, and it was also really intimidating because it was only Adriana and me and a few other students, like 6 other students that were there to take the first test. What I remember most is the wait time, because we had to wait for different people to pass, like on small groups, for the speaking test. So I was a little scared there because I was like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me? I'm really bad at talking. I'm better at writing than I am at speaking because I'm a mess when I speak. Um, so I remember going in there and they would ask us questions, but the other two girls in my little group that I went in with the Cambridge teacher were like really talkative, so they did most of the talking, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, just nodding. Yeah, whatever she says, yes.
um, it was actually more like of personal experiences or what you wanted. Like, I think one of the questions was like, "Do you want to be famous?" And a girl was like, "Yes, because I have actually been in TV once," and blah 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 blah. And when they asked me, and I was like, "No, no thanks, I don't want to be famous." And they were like, "Why?" Because I think it's hard to be famous. That observed, and I was like, "No, I don't want to be famous." Um, but yeah, it was still early when I finished that exam. I think
Yeah.
it was like 10 a.m.
Yeah, it must have felt like hours.
Yeah.
The speaking test feels like 1 hour, but it actually takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes stops.
And we weren't allowed to have our phones with us, so it was like, what do we do in this
While
free
I
time?
wait, right?
What are we supposed to do? Interact with each other?
Which one's the most challenging one? Speaking, or whether orders like reading and use of English,
I think it
listening?
was listening and speaking were the hardest, because in writing it would have been hard, but I remember that since first grade in your classes I was challenged a lot when we had to write essays, because
Essays.
you always had a word limit, and I would always go through that word limit. Like you would say 100 words, and I was like 120. And you always return my word because you said it's 120 words, and I was like, but teacher.
It's just 20 words. Oh, well, yeah, those are skills we have to learn.
So when I took that test, it was like I don't remember, like 150 words. So it was like, oh, okay, I have to write, and I wrote exactly 150.
Oh, that's great. So, however challenging it might have sound, Vale got the highest score we ever had in secondary in first certificate. Unfortunately, we had a little situation. Well, let me give you some background in here. When you take a Cambridge exam, you can get like pass C, pass B, and pass A, right? We can say that a pass C is a solid pass, pass B is a rock solid pass, and pass A is basically having the perfect exam, like minor mistakes, one or two. Okay, if you get a pass A, what the University of Cambridge does is to give you the level above you. So in this case, you were applying for first, which is level B2, and if you get the pass A with a perfect score, the University of Cambridge gives you the next level, which is C1.
C1. I don't know the other name, but it's C1.
It's C1, right? But, oh my gosh, there was just one little thing in there. 1 point. Just 1 point, literally 1 point to achieve that, right? So she obviously got a pass A. It was like very perfect exam, but just 1 point made a difference to achieve the C1. What can you say, right? We probably got frustrated. I was frustrated.
I was very frustrated because I was like, it was 1 point.
Oh,
What would make a difference between 1 point and my score?
oh, yeah.
What's the difference?
You almost got everything perfect. And then, well, then you started prepa. What was it? High school?
High school.
Yeah.
So when I started high school, I went to a private school as well, because I looked at the other options, and I was like, oh, well, I don't care that much. So I went to a private school, and we first took like a diagnosis test, like on every other school, for to know our levels. And I remember the English section, and when I took it, I was like, really? Are we serious?
Birth to be again? No, come on.
Because I remember there was like a special like course or program for people who wanted to learn English, and I think it was like guaranteed that whoever took that course or program would go out of high school having a B2 level, but I was like, well, I already have B2, so I'll just take the normal one, I guess. So we started taking English in high school, and I am not kidding you when I say that I saw those topics at primary school. But I understand why. Sometimes a lot of the kids that went with me in high school didn't have courses or classes in their old schools at all, so they didn't know English at all. I had actually one friend that didn't know English, like absolutely no English more than like hello, how are you, and stuff. So my friend group actually relied a lot on me when we were in high school, because
Was it a challenge to you at all?
going to classes just because I was bored all the time, and like not raising my hand every time because I didn't want, like, it's something important, like in that life moment, that is like, oh, I don't want these people thinking this of me. So I was mostly on my phone discreetly. And sometimes I would raise my hand and answer a question just from time to time, because I didn't want, like, oh, smarty pants.
Smarty pants.
No, I didn't want to give that impression. But it was really easy. I think it was like 4 quadrimesters, is that the word? Of English, and that was it. I just remember one challenge with a teacher, but it was not even English related. It was because according to him, I didn't hand a cover of a work correctly, because I had put the school name, then my name, but the teacher said, no, you have to put name, 2 points, Valeria, teacher, 2 points, and I was like, seriously? I think that's not required, but anyways.
Was there any way to improve your English? Was there a way to get a higher certification? Any program, any courses?
In high school? No. I think there was like courses or like extracurricular activities like for English, but I didn't take them because I said, what's the point? I don't think there's any teacher that has level beyond B2. So I thought, well, I would just be there to do nothing.
Yeah, just to spend the time in there.
So no, I actually think the most I learned of English was in him.
Okay, right. So after 3 years of high school, we finally made it to college.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Guys, you got to listen to Valeria. She inspired me a lot. Please tell us about your admission process for this school.
Okay, so the admission process is actually, it starts very early. I took the test when I was still in high school, but I actually finished high school like 4 months earlier than I had to.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know?
Impressive.
That's why I kept going to the secondary, because I was free. I didn't have anything to do. But anyways, I did the test of college on January. It was kind of an easy test, and there was an English section too that, well, I was actually surprised, because I thought it would be like on high school when they give you, some easy readings, and like you have to write the most obvious things. But when I saw the test on college, I was like, wow, this is actually advanced level. But anyways, I passed the test. I think it was like a few days later that they said, oh, congratulations, you passed the test. And well, I was going to try to apply for a scholarship at the same school, and I think we have something called for portfolio, where we have to collect different of our art pieces and put them there to send them and get a scholarship out of that portfolio. But I didn't get that scholarship because, well, I don't have technique. I'm studying illustration and concept art, by the way.
What school is it?
It's called Escena. It's kind of new.
I'm very proud.
It's 10 years since it was like accepted by the SEP. Actually 17 years since it was like founded, but it was like courses and extracurricular activities. It wasn't an actual school. But anyways,
How has English helped you in college now?
okay, so English is something that we are expected to know. That's kind of it, because first when we first went into our like welcome tag, like welcome students, this is the teacher, this is the blah blah, and first most of the talk was in Spanish because it was the national teachers presenting themselves, like the staff of the school. But then they would say, oh, so this is Fraser McLean. He is someone that has worked in the industry a lot of years ago. He worked in Tarzan and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And well, that guy, he speaks little to no Spanish, so all of his talk was in English. And there weren't any translators or anything. You were just expected to know the language, and most of us did. But I remember thinking at that time, what if you don't know English? You wouldn't understand this talk at all. And that's very sad because the talk was so funny. It was hilarious. That man was so fun. So yeah, well, now in the actual classes, like on our day-to-day activities, the teachers speak Spanish, of course, but when we have to see movies to study them, to analyze them, depending on the subject we're in, but the clips that we see are always in English. The scripts that we read are in English. There's nothing of important material in Spanish. We have to know English. And there's also English courses, but I think it's very inconvenient to have to take them because, well, it's only 4 months of that course, and there's actually a lot of workload on the school, like your homework and your school activities that you do in classes. So I think it would be hard to try to learn the language while being in college. So I think it's better than just prepare yourself to know that you will be speaking English, listening English, and you have to have a good level of English in college, at least in my school.
At least in your school, right? And that's something that I always tell parents. They don't see this immediate future of their kids using English, but trust me, it is way better to focus now in English. Try to certify as much as possible. Try to certify as much as possible, because later in life, after high school and college, oh my gosh, the workload you have, it's humongous.
Yeah.
Let's say. So trying to balance your lifestyle, trying to balance your friendships lifestyle, your English courses, your normal courses, etc., is demanding. So, in order to get your bachelor's degree, you need to know English already. You're expected, right? They don't tell you. You're expected to know English already. So, having a B1 level, which is the certification we have in second grade, PET, you're saving yourself a lot of time. Definitely. Okay. Is there any advice you would like to give our current students in secondary?
Yes. Aside from classes, I would advise you to also learn in your house. And I don't mean like take courses or something. Watch movies, watch videos, listen, read. It would help a lot to implement your English in your activities that you usually do. It doesn't have to be work related or school related. It just has to be English. There's funny YouTubers in English, I promise.
I promise.
TikTokers
well,
as well.
Vale, it was a big pleasure to have you here with me today. Everyone at home, I hope you enjoy our little podcast today. wish you the best. Just keep
Thanks.
working hard. I'm really proud of you.
Oh.
I wouldn't like to say it, but I expect a lot from you.
I know.
You have never disappointed me. Well done, girl. Everyone, thank you so much. We see next episode, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Muchas gracias por habernos sintonizado. Te esperamos cada semana con un nuevo episodio de tu podcast favorito. Somos Podcast Gen Secundaria.